I think one of the hardest things to accept is that no matter how much you care, you're going to disappoint people. Not because you're cruel or careless, but simply because you're human. And that truth doesn't come all at once. It settles slowly, through moments where you realize that even your best intentions can still fall short in someone else's expectations, and that no matter how much effort you put into being everything for everyone, there will always be a gap between what you give and what someone else believes you should have given. For the longest time, I thought being a good person meant keeping everyone happy. Saying yes when I wanted to say no, showing up when I was tired, listening when I didn't have the space to. I thought kindness was about giving more of myself, even when there was barely anything left to give, stretching beyond my limits without questioning whether I was slowly draining myself just to maintain an image that people had grown comfortable with. But I've started to realize that a lot of what we call kindness is just fear. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of being left out. Fear that if we stop showing up for everyone, no one will show up for us. And that fear disguises itself so well that it feels like responsibility, like loyalty, like doing the right thing, when in reality it is quietly controlling your decisions and shaping your behavior in ways that slowly disconnect you from yourself. It's strange how easily you can lose yourself trying to make everyone else comfortable. You learn to shrink your needs, to smile when you're hurt, to apologize for simply existing in a way someone else doesn't like. And for a while it even works because people respond well to that version of you, the version that is easy, agreeable, and always available, even if that version comes at the cost of your own truth. People think you're easy to be around. They say you're dependable, patient, understanding. But inside you start to feel like a stranger in your own life. You wake up one day and realize you've built your entire identity around being who people wanted you to be, adjusting yourself so many times that you can no longer clearly tell where your real self begins and where the version created for others ends. You don't even know what you want anymore or what kind of person you'd be if you stop trying to please everyone. And the thing is, you can't live honestly and please everyone at the same time, because honesty requires choices that will not always align with what others expect from you. And trying to balance both will only leave you stuck between who you are and who you think you need to be. The moment you start setting boundaries, someone will take it personally. The moment you choose rest over obligation, someone will call you distant. The moment you start saying no, someone will think you've changed because they were used to a version of you that never resisted, never questioned, and never prioritized itself. And maybe you have, but maybe that's the point. Growth always looks like disappointment to those who only valued your compliance. People who benefited from your silence will always call your truth selfish, because your growth interrupts the comfort they had in your old patterns, and not everyone is willing to adjust to that change. And that hurts. It really does, because we all want to be understood. We all want people to see our intentions, to know we're not trying to hurt anyone. We're just trying to exist without constantly betraying ourselves, trying to find a balance between being present for others and being honest with who we are becoming. Learning to disappoint people is uncomfortable because it forces you to let go of control. You can't manage how others see you anymore. You can only choose what feels right, even when it makes you look like the bad guy in someone else's story. And that shift from control to acceptance is where the real challenge begins. But over time, that discomfort starts to feel like peace. You stop explaining so much. You stop apologizing for taking up space. You start realizing that your worth doesn't depend on how well you perform for others. And that realization slowly replaces anxiety with clarity and pressure with a sense of internal stability. You stop forcing conversations that drain you. You stop trying to fix what doesn't want to be healed. And in all that stopping, you finally make room for yourself to breathe, creating space that was previously filled with obligations that were never truly yours to carry. There's a quiet kind of freedom that comes from disappointing people and surviving it. The world doesn't fall apart. The people who truly care about you don't disappear. And the ones who do, maybe they were only there for the version of you that made their life easier and not for the version of you that is learning to live honestly. You start to see that being loved and being liked are two very different things. Love can handle truth. It can handle boundaries. It doesn't demand that you erase yourself to stay close, and understanding that difference changes the way you define connection and what you are willing to accept from others. So maybe the art of disappointing people isn't really about letting others down at all.